Hello and welcome back. You're still watching Weather HQ. Now, as global tensions continue to rise, particularly in the Middle East, the ripple effects could soon be felt in the agriculture sector. Now, to give us a clearer picture of the government's preparedness and what Filipino farmers should expect in the coming weeks, joining us via Zoom is a spokesperson of the Department of Agriculture, Asec Arnel De Mesa. Good morning, Asec. Thank you so much for joining us. It's a beautiful day.
Hi, Paolo. Good morning. Good morning to everyone.
So, Asec, let's talk about first why the tensions in the Middle East could actually affect the Philippines' fertilizer supply and pricing. How dependent are we on what's happening in the Middle East, po?
Yes, Paolo. But first of all, agriculture practically will be affected based on fuel increases, fuel price increases. Of course, machineries and equipment runs on fuel, so it might have an impact. And another is on, of course, on the distribution and logistics. Whenever there's price increases, especially if huge increases, it will have some impact on distribution and logistics costs for our agricultural commodities. On fertilizers, 100% of our fertilizers are being imported. Majority of feeds are coming from China, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Qatar. So coming from the region, it's only from Qatar, so we can easily get our...
Well, Asec, when we talk about the gas prices, the fuel prices, you mentioned it a while ago that it being one of the key drivers of yung prices dito sa Pilipinas. So, Asec, right now it looks like we have a bit of problem with yung audio nyo po. Could you hear us?
For fertilizer for the rest of the year.
All right, Asec, sorry, it looks like we're having a bit of issue with yung signal po natin. If it was okay, we'll repeat yung question po just for clarity's sake. When we take a look at the prices of fuel in particular affecting the prices of goods here in the Philippines, especially when it comes to the agricultural sector and particularly the local fertilizer market, nakita po natin that this week we will have a sharp increase in terms of fuel prices. Will that already directly affect yung mga local prices of goods natin and commodities?
Again, Paulo, sa fertilizer, hindi yun makaka-apekto masyado kasi nakarating na karamihan yung requirements natin for the rest of the year. What will impact sa sector might probably be, of course, pag may tumaas ang presyo ng gasolina, we can expect magkaroon ng increases doon sa presyo ng distribution and logistics, especially kung medyo mataas ang pagtaas ng presyo ng gasolina, Paolo.
Well, there could be, given all of the tension happening in the Middle East, of course, this might be the beginning of more difficult movement in and around the region when it comes to supplies, even with the fertilizer. You mentioned po that it will not be affected, at least for the meantime. But are there any contingency plans should the supplies start to dwindle po? Do we have any buffer stocks or emergency sourcing options when it comes to yung local fertilizer po natin?
For our fertilizer requirements, karamihan ng requirements natin are coming from China, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Qatar. So, ang maapektuhan lang yung galing ng Qatar kasi talagang within yung region na meron tayong problema. But nevertheless, we can easily get our sources from other countries, especially China and from ASEAN, na meron tayong mga kinukuha sa ngayon.
Let's move away from local fertilizer specifically po, and let's talk about yung mga input for farmers in general in terms of the rising costs. You mentioned it a while ago that when there will be gas increases, fuel price increases, maapektuhan yung supply chain in general. When we take a look at the farmers, what type of assistance can the government provide, can the DA provide to mga smallholder farmers who may struggle with the rising cost of input?
Matagal na natin ginagawa, Paolo. We're distributing fuel subsidies, especially for those smallhold farmers natin who owns equipment and machinery na run ng fuel. So we're giving out 3,000 to 5,000 fuel subsidy for them. Ganun din yung ating fishermen. We're giving them also fuel subsidy, especially doon sa mga trim tonnage pababa yung kanilang capacity.
When it comes to sourcing material from outside the country, apart from the local fertilizer, you mentioned it a while ago, you listed down the locations kung saan nanggaling po yung local fertilizer po natin. But in terms of importing other goods, what are some of the materials that the DEA is wary about in terms of yung sourcing po that the geopolitical situation might cause problems with in terms of the supply here in the country?
For other inputs, I guess it's only fertilizer na meron tayong possible na problema, especially nung nagkaroon ng problema ng Russia and Ukraine kasi Russia yung may pamalaking source natin ng fertilizer, but eventually we easily nakakuha tayo ng ibang sources. So similarly, ganun din yung nakikita natin dito. For other inputs, wala namang other than fertilizer, wala tayong nakikita ibang problema kasi for example, for pork requirements natin, for rice, it's not affected naman itong mga nangyayari sa ngayon.
What's your message to Filipino farmers po, especially when it comes to those worried about the rising costs of yung mga input and of course the potential shortage of fertilizer?
Sa ngayon, naka-ready ang DA to support ang ating mga smallhold farmers and fishers. And at the same time, as I mentioned, we still have enough fertilizer as we go along through the rest of the year. So again, the department is ready to support our farmers and fishers. Thank you, Paulo.
Thank you so much. That's Asec Arnel De Mesa of the Department of Agriculture. And thank you so much for sharing your insights and, of course, giving us all that information. Thank you.
Thank you.